So if you thought the animated style of Flea would blunt some of the very traumatic events that happen, you're in for a shock. Hey everyone, this is David Stark from Watcher Pass, and today I'll be talking about Flea, which is already out. It had an expanded release last Friday, January 21st, to several more cities, and it's going to be expanding even more this Friday, January 28th, to more cities. It is a very interesting film. It's put out by Neon. They're kind of known for having kind of unique, thoughtful, kind of out there films, and this is no exception. Flea tells the story of Amin, who is from Afghanistan and had to flee from Afghanistan when the government fell. His family had to leave Afghanistan and went several places to try to find a safe place to live. Eventually, Amin ended up in Denmark, but his kind of story of how he got there and the traumas that he experienced and just the overall immigrant journey that he went through is something amazing to watch, and also kind of shows the pain and fear and scars that can leave on someone. The director mentioned that he wanted to tell the story because Amin is one of the he's one of the I don't know the positive cases, because he eventually did find asylum in a country and built a life. And none of this is spoilers, because the movie starts with Amin in Denmark talking to the director, so you know that he eventually made it. But even though he did kind of make it, his journey was still a tragic, terrible one, and the traumas that he experienced during that journey really affect him and shape who he is. And you can kind of see that in this film, and see that through his story and the way that he tells the story and the way that he reacts to certain things. Like, the overall message in this film is an amazing one, because it's a human journey. It is a difficult journey, and it's a side of this journey that I don't think you would normally see. So as you can tell, my hot take is you should definitely watch it, because I think this film achieves its goal. It tells Amin's harrowing story in this style that allows the story to be shown, allows you to experience it, and it also shows how that journey affected him to this day. So I'm going to tell you a few things I liked about this film and a couple things I didn't like. As you can tell, I think you should watch it. It's a very interesting film. It's not going to be kind of your happy feel-good film, but it is one that I think you really should experience. So things I liked about this film. The first is the animation. And what I liked about the animation is that it does allow you to tell this story and kind of let the viewer experience it in a unique way, and also a way that I think it doesn't blunt the trauma, because there is still some very big traumatic moments in this film, but it does present it in a different way, and present it in a way that allows me to tell a story. I think, the director's statement mentioned that he was cautious to tell a story. He didn't want to tell the story, they were hoping to find a way that would let him be comfortable telling the story. And I think the animated story does allow that, because it does kind of meld Amin's story into this very unique way to tell it. And the animation has kind of two main ways. There's a more, I don't know, photorealistic, colorful style that is most of the story. Most of the story is told that way and allows you to experience it. It's not photorealistic, but it is a more recognizable animated style, lets you kind of recognize the characters. It more easily kind of showcases the journey. But during particularly traumatic moments, there is this more kind of abstract, black and white, hand-drawn style that's almost like a child's dream, and that really kind of showcases some of these things that really affected during his journey, and some of the things that really were traumatic for someone his age. His journey was when he was young and developing, and there were lots of setbacks in that journey, and a lot of those affected him. The way that he was treated, things that happened because he was an immigrant, events that happened when they were trying to find safety and didn't actually succeed. Like, all of that really had an impact on him, and the animation style, I think, allows that to be told in a way that is, both engaging but not going to be scarring. I think that's kind of the main idea, is you can see and experience his story without having it be something that he has to relive and that you have to relive through him. And that leads right into the second thing I love about this film, is the story. The story does, I think, accomplish its goal of showing this journey and how it affected him. The story is, I said it a couple times, but the story is one of the success stories, right? He made it. He went somewhere, he found a place to live, and he has a life. But everything he went through and some of the consequences of that journey still resonate to this day and still kind of affect him. And you find those out during the movie. But I think just hearing his story and seeing it play out was it was affecting, and I think it was a very important thing to watch. The third thing I really loved is just Amin and hearing the story from his voice. The way that this movie is told is you have Amin kind of narrating, I'd say 90% of the story, 95% of the story. And so you hear him explain the events that happened, and you get to hear his hesitations, the way he emphasizes things. You really get to see kind of the scars that this journey had on him. And what that allows is allows you to experience a story through his words and kind of through his own experiences. You get to hear his hesitations when he's mentioning something. You get to hear some of the moments of joy that he experienced, and you get to also see how how he speaks differently when he's recalling these traumatic events and then when he's talking about things in his current life. And I think that that really gives you a very personal look into this journey that maybe the animated style wouldn't give you. And I think that the idea was for the animation to not give you as personal, as kind of scarring of a journey. But when you couple that with Amin's voice, it does give you a very human aspect to this film. And the last thing I really liked about this film are the moments of happiness. Now, I've said a couple times that his story was harrowing. There were some very dark moments. There were some very dark moments in this film. But there are some moments of happiness throughout, and those really kind of shine a light in this very, very dark journey that he had. Now, those moments don't kind of turn this into like a feel-good happy movie, but when they show up, you really do kind of experience them as well, and they really do affect you. After such a long dark sequence, sometimes you'll get these moments that kind of make you smile or make you experience the joy that Amin felt when that happened. Things I didn't love as much, and these are minor criticisms, so just take these with a grain of salt. The first is the story is slow, and I think that's partly how Amin tells it, because he has a slower way of describing things. He's very careful and very thoughtful when he's saying things, and that leads to a story that does develop slowly. But you know that like it's a double-edged sword, right? I love that he is telling the story. So if he's going to tell the story, some of the parts are going to be slower because that's just how he does it. And I think also the slowness could be attributed to the fact that this is a real story. It's not, you're not going to have Hollywood gloss on these events, and so that means that this story is very real. And much like life, sometimes things don't progress very quickly. Sometimes you have setbacks. It does lead to some sequences where, you know, not much happens. But again, this is a very real story. That's kind of what happens in life. And so it's not really a big thing I can fault. But just if you're expecting something to be kind of exciting or kind of really engaging, there are some parts of this story that aren't that way. So just be warned. And the second thing I didn't really love it, but I got used to it, is the jerky animation. I mean, the animation, like I said, the animated style does allow the story to be told, but the style is, it's not stop motion, but you do have kind of jerky movements. It's almost like a frame will happen like every half a second or so. So you have these beautiful animated sequences where the characters are moving a little unnaturally. And like I said, I got used to it. So at the start, it was a little bit more distracting than at the end, but it was very distracting at the start. And that is pretty much all the animated sequences are like this. So you will get used to it, but it was a little strange at the start to watch and see kind of these characters moving in a way that would be, you know, you would normally associate that with maybe like an intro to a movie, like an animated start where they have that kind of jerky animation style, and then you would go into a movie. But the entire movie has that. And like I said, you get used to it, but it is something that distracted me at the start. That's Flea. Like I said, I think you should watch it. I think it's a unique story. It's an important story. It's one that really puts a human element to this kind of big world issue. And so I think that it's something that is definitely worth taking your time to watch. So that's Flea. It's available in theaters now. It's expanding to more theaters on January 28th. I imagine it'll be available digitally as well. So if you don't want to go to theaters, you can wait for it to be digital, but I think you should definitely watch it. And thanks so much for watching. If you like this review, please like and subscribe to this channel. It helps me out a lot. Make sure all my new content goes straight to you. And please check out my other content. I've got other movie reviews, interviews, unboxing videos, and recommendations. Thank you.